Round 2 of the UK Armed Forces Karting Championship had a wet start for Endurance Race 1 at Ellough Park karting circuit in Beccles. The format sees over 40 karts on track, with pit stops and driver changes defining the 2-hour race. It was a race full of leadership switches, but Royal Navy pair Sam Cresswell and Tom Shelton saw off challenges from RAF Bryce Norton and RAF Benson to win.
To be honest with you, my first time I went out in wet tyres was yesterday, so this is my first race in the wet, and I went out in the second stint, so I weren't too sure what to feel, but the car switched on straight away and it felt unreal. Obviously the pace showed that, so it was really, really good. And it was drying up towards the end, so I was just watching the revs, making sure the revs weren't going too high, or the tyres weren't getting too hot, just to make it through to the end. But yeah, it all went relatively smoothly.
Endurance Race 2 was another successful one for the Navy pair in Kart 46, but differing pit strategies from RAF Leaning's Kart 21 kept things interesting. At one point the Navy had pitted twice before the Leaning car pulled into the pits even once, but it didn't pay off, as the Shelton Cresswell Dream Team made it 2 wins out of 2.
It is a tight track, you're right, and if you're close up to someone else who's only a couple of tenths quicker than you, it's actually quite hard to get an overtake, so it could take a couple of laps. You've got to build it just to get that sort of late minute lunge and get right in there. But overall it's a good track, it's good flow, it's quite physical, it's quite a long track as well, about 50 seconds a lap in the drive, so about 55, 56 seconds in the wet. So yes, it's a tricky, technical, there are some pretty hairy moments, but it's enjoyable, it's fun.
Next up, the Premier Race, which saw 5 single driver karts in a shorter but faster race. Ian Hodgkiss from the Royal Electrical Mechanical Engineers dropped to 4th at the start, but kept himself in the hunt, and a terrific overtake saw him take the lead.
Where I managed to get through both of them, which I got both of them on the same corner, which is probably my best overtake this season so far. I wouldn't say it's sheer luck, but I have a different line into those double hairpins, or the double banker right-hander. By virtue of the fact they go a little bit wider, and I go a little bit more on the inside into my entry, and I get a bit more entry speed. They were fighting against each other, defensive, further out on the left, which enabled me to go off to the right, carried more speed, and undertake both of them into the next corner.
From there, it was plain sailing for Hodgkiss, who has the overall season title in his sights.
So I suspect that I should probably come top of the championship right now. The championship runs 7 rounds a season, and we do have a drop round. So just because of the nature of being in the military, some people are busy and can't attend every single round. So I'm hopeful that for the rest of the season I can attend all the races, and there'll no doubt be one race at some point which we will need to drop through, whether it'll be just position and placing or a mechanical failure.
The final endurance race of the day, without the previous Navy winners, was a chaotic affair full of yellow flags and stoppages. A number of cars, including Royal Engineers Kart 28, took advantage of the cheap pit stops to take the lead. And when a more major crash resulted in a red flag and eventual early race ending, it was that clever strategy that paid off for the engineers.
The absolute chaos started happening around about midpoint of the race. About the point where I was going to start actually jump out and hand over to Sonny. Coming under the Battenberg, the whole pack is going around quite slowly on track. So if you manage to get in under the Battenberg, you're probably saving about 30 seconds on a pit stop. Just because you can come in, get your pit stop out, go back out and join to the back of the Battenberg, or the safety car as it would be if you're watching Formula 1, and you lose a lot less time. And we managed to get all 3 of our pit stops done under those conditions, which really helps us out.
The next round of the competition takes place in Dorchester, while some RAF drivers are gearing up for a 24-hour national battle in Teesside. Kyle Dixon, Forces News, Beccles.
Thanks for watching. For more from Forces News, like and subscribe to our channel.